sophisticated studio organization, styling vintage French armoires and antiques. Bonjour everyone, and welcome back to our tiny corner of Paris. You know, there's something truly romantic about a compact Parisian studio, isn't there? The high ceilings, the tall windows, the history in the walls. But let's be real for a moment. As much as we adore the ambience, living in 20 square meters, that's about 215 square feet for my friends across the pond, means every single item, every single object has to be chosen with incredible intention. It's a challenge for sure, but it's one that sparks a unique kind of creativity. Today, I want to talk about the reality of living small in one of the world's most beautiful and most expensive cities. When you step into my studio, you're almost immediately in the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom all at once. There's no separate room to hide the clutter. Every inch counts. I'm sure many of you can relate. Whether you're in a bustling city apartment or just trying to simplify your life, that feeling of being slightly, cramped, it's real. And it's exactly why we need clever solutions that don't sacrifice style for functionality. Our goal here isn't just to organize, it's to style with a purpose. I'm deeply inspired by Parisian designers who seem to effortlessly blend elegance with practicality. Think of characters like Coco Chanel, who valued comfort and simplicity, or modern style icons like Inès de la Fressange, who masterfully mix high and low, vintage and new. It's about creating a space that feels curated, not cluttered. We're not looking for sterile minimalism, but for an organized, lived-in sophisticated space where every piece tells a story. When I first moved in, I did what everyone does. I went to the big blue and yellow store and bought all the modern particle board storage solutions. You know the ones, white, square, functional, and completely lacking in personality. But in a space this small, those pieces just felt heavy. They didn't breathe. They felt generic. I realized that to make this studio feel like a true home, I needed furniture that had character, pieces that belonged in Paris. That's when I turned to the puces, the flea markets, and I fell in love with the stunning antique French armoire. This wasn't just a piece of storage, it was a work of art. The rich, aged wood, the intricate carvings, the beautiful old keyhole. It was exactly what I didn't know I needed. It instantly transformed the mood of my studio. Instead of a box to hold my things, it felt like I was adding a piece of history. But let's be practical. An antique armoire, while beautiful, doesn't always come with the convenient, pre-measured drawers and shelves of a modern wardrobe. You have this massive open space. This is where the true sophisticated organization comes into play. It's not just about hiding things inside the armoire. It's about creating an organizational system within that is as well thought out as the furniture itself. It's a balance of practicality and beauty. secret to organizing an antique armoire is layering. I don't just stack shirts on a single shelf. I use beautiful fabric-covered boxes, think simple linen or subtle ticking stripes, to group items. This creates different zones within the same shelf. It adds a layer of visual interest and makes finding things a dream. It also prevents that dreaded tumbling pile of clothes when you pull one item from the bottom. Now here is my personal opinion tip for vintage storage. You must have at least one showpiece inside that makes you smile. For me, it's a vintage silver perfume tray holding a few of my favorite scents. It's not practical in a purely utilitarian sense, but it is practical for my happiness. It elevates the experience of opening the armoire every morning and reminds me that my home is a reflection of my taste, not just my need for storage. Let's talk about sweaters, those cozy, space-consuming nightmares. Hanging them can stretch the shoulders, and they quickly overwhelm small drawers. I use my armoire's large central space for a stack of chunky, beautiful wool and cashmere sweaters, but I use a small, elegant linen sachet lavender, of course, tucked between them. This keeps them smelling fresh and adds a sensory detail that is very French. My armoire has a large aged mirror on the front. This is crucial for a tiny apartment. It doesn't just help me get ready, it serves a design purpose. It reflects the light from the tall window and makes the entire studio feel instantly more spacious. It's an old trick, but it's one that Parisian designers have used for centuries, and it's especially vital when every square meter feels valuable. The armoire is the star, but it can't shine alone. The key is to weave other vintage pieces throughout the entire studio to create a cohesive narrative. It's not about turning your apartment into a museum, but about having a conversation between the old and the new. I have a small mid-century French writing desk that sits by the window, a piece that's both charming and functional for my work. One of the most Parisian design elements I adore is the open shelf. In my tiny kitchen, I've replaced bulky upper cabinets with a single simple wooden shelf holding my prettiest dishes, some vintage porcelain, and a few favorite cookbooks. This keeps the space feeling airy and light, rather than closed in and heavy. It also encourages you to only keep dishes that are truly beautiful and that you use regularly. Trays are your best friend in a studio apartment. On my coffee table, which is actually a small vintage trunk, I use a beautiful brass tray to corral all the smaller items: the remote, a candle, a few art books. This makes the surface feel intentional and organized, rather than like a dumping ground for odds and ends. It's a simple, elegant way to group like items and make them look curated. With my high ceilings, I realized I had so much unused vertical space. I decided to build simple floor-to-ceiling bookshelves along one small wall. But to make them accessible and, let's be honest, to make them feel more like a classic French library, I added a small, simple library ladder. It's a practical solution, and it adds that extra dose of charm and functionality that makes the space feel unique. Instead of modern plastic bins, I source vintage hat boxes from the Puces. They are beautiful in their own right, and I use them to store out-of-season items like scarves and gloves in the winter or lightweight summer accessories. They stack beautifully in a corner or on top of the armoire, adding to the curated, historical feel of the apartment rather than detracting from it. Organization isn't just about where you put things, but how they look and feel. In a small space, textiles are essential for adding warmth and texture. I love using linen curtains to hide less than glamorous storage areas, and I always have a beautiful antique wool throw draped over my chair. It adds that layer of effortless style that's so synonymous with Parisian homes. This is perhaps the most important rule of all when living in a small studio. The one-in, one-out rule. Every time I bring something new into my apartment, a new shirt, a new book, a new piece of art, something else must leave. It forces me to be incredibly mindful of what I choose to keep and prevents my curated space from becoming a cluttered mess. It's not easy, but it's the key to maintaining a sophisticated, organized home. My bookshelves aren't just packed tight with books. That would make the small space feel even smaller. Instead, I break up the rows of books with a few carefully chosen objects. A small sculpture, a vintage candlestick, a framed photo. This creates visual breathing room and allows each piece, including the books, to be seen and appreciated. It's a small detail, but one that makes a huge difference. No Parisian-inspired space is complete without a bit of greenery. In a small studio, I like to use tall, lean plants that don't take up too much floor space, like a snake plant or a small fiddle leaf figure. And I always have fresh flowers on my desk or the coffee table. They add life, color, and a natural element that instantly softens the space and makes it feel more welcoming. In my studio, my small antique bistro table is my dining table, my desk, when I'm not using the writing desk, and sometimes my food prep surface. The key is to choose furniture that can wear many hats. And when not in use, I keep it styled simply with a beautiful tablecloth or runner and a bowl of fresh fruit. This makes it look like a charming part of the decor, not a work in progress. One of the most important aspects of loving vintage pieces is embracing their imperfections. My armoire has a few scratches, the mirror has some aged patina. This isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate. These flaws are what give the pieces their character and make the entire studio feel more human and lived in. It's the opposite of that sterile, mass-produced look. Good lighting is everything, especially in a compact space. I never use harsh overhead lights. Instead, I use a collection of smaller vintage lamps, a small desk lamp, a floor lamp, a table lamp. This allows me to create a soft, warm ambience and to define different zones within my single large room. It makes the space feel cozy and intimate, not vast and empty. It's the small details that make a sophisticated space truly feel complete. For me, it's about using antique-inspired hardware, like brass drawer pulls or a small framed botanical print. It's about the way a simple embroidered cocktail napkin is folded on a tray. These little touches are where your personality and your love for the space really shine through. Ultimately, organizing a small Parisian studio with vintage antiques isn't about fitting a specific design mold. It's about creating a space that feels uniquely you. It's a space where every item is chosen with love, every organizational solution has a touch of style, and where history and the present moment are in constant conversation. It's my little sanctuary, my curated corner of the world. So if you're living in a small space, I encourage you to see it not as a constraint, but as a challenge to your creativity. Find that vintage piece that speaks to you, give it a new life, and create an organization system that is both practical and beautiful. Make your home a place that is not just efficient, but one that inspires you every single day. Thanks so much for joining me in my tiny studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me, what's your favorite way to add a bit of vintage style to your home? À bientôt!